Hello doctor, my name is Arnold. I'm going to present the case study 2 with Christolen. So the case study 2 title is Bernal SS Great Britain. Conservation and interpretation are potential conflicts. Bernal SS Great Britain is a historic ship that presents a challenge between conservation and interpretation. Conservation focuses on protecting the ship's original material and structures, while interpretation aims to help visitors understand its history through display and restoration. This goal can sometimes conflict. For example, restoring parts of the ship to look like they did in the past might mean replacing original features, which goes against strict conservation. On the other hand, leaving the ship untouched may make it harder for visitors to imagine its original use. The SS Great Britain's Trust had to carefully balance these needs, using modern techniques like a glass roof and dry dock to preserve the ship while also creating engaging exhibits to tell its story. Question number 1. The SS Great Britain is almost unique as a preserved passenger liner. The RMS Queen Mary at Long Beach, California behind another rare example. Self-evidently, no vessel of this size can be preserved fully undercover, so the superstructures will always be open to the elements, meaning that continuous maintenance of a relatively fragile object is required to an extent not usually found in a visitor attraction. Discuss this case for public funding for such attraction versus a privately operated visitor attraction such as RMS Queen Mary on Consider ways other than those described in the text, in which financial support can be raised for the ship preservation. So we have three key points here. The first one is public versus private funding for SS Great Britain. Why public funding helps is because SS Great Britain is a special piece of history. It needs constant care because it is exposed to the weather. Public money from government or charities help keep it safe for future generations, and it's educational and culture, so everyone benefits. We are going to the key number 2, which is the private attraction like RMS Queen Mary. Run like a business to make profit, may focus more on entertainment than history, might not spend enough or proper conservation. The last point, which is other ways to raise money. First one is membership programs or friends of SS Great Britain. Number 2 is special events, tour or experience. Number 3 is gift, shop and online merchants. And number 4 is crowdfunding or online donation. And the last one is corporate sponsorship or partnership. So right now, let's go to the question number 2. Examine the three alternatives taken into consideration by the trust when seeking solution to the restoration and interpretation of this vessel and discuss the pros and cons of each. This SS Great Britain Trust considered three main options for restoring and interpreting the ship: leaving it untouched, restoring it fully, or preserving it with modern techniques. Each had pros and cons. So we have three main options here. The first one is leave the ship as it is. Pros: keep the ship in its original condition, low cost and less work. For the cons, this ship will continue to decay. Visitors may not enjoy seeing the vessel. The number 2 option is fully restore the ship. Pros: make the ship look like it did in the past, more exciting and educational for visitors, help people imagine life on board. Cons: very expensive and time-consuming. Some original parts might be lost or replaced. Not all details from the past are known. The last one main option, modern conservation with interpretation. Pros: uses smart technology to protect the ship, keeps original material safe, combine history with modern visitor experience. Cons: can be costly to install and maintain, may confuse visitors if modern parts are too visible. That's all from my side, and then my friend will be continuing.
Okay, hello doctor. My name is Crystalline Dominic and I am the member of group 5. So today I will be explaining the question 3, which is look at how visitor access is managed differently at two heritage site, which is the Great SS Great Britain and Wentworth Woodhouse, and also the pros and cons of allowing visitor to explore freely or through guided tours. So let's begin with the SS Great Britain. For your information, this ship was the world's first iron hull, screw propelled ocean liner, and it is a true engineering marvel by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. What makes it unique is how visitors experience it instead of looking at display behind glass. People can walk through cabins, lie on bunks, and see life like many queens of passenger and crew. These are even recreated smells and sound, such as soap and seasickness, to make visitors feel like they are actually on board. This free flow access creates a very personal and realistic experience. Visitors can explore at their own pace, choose area that interest them, and notice small details like diaries or letters that tell real human stories. It is fun and flexible for all kind of visitor. For example, for the families, student or tourists, and it encouraged curiosity and emotional connection to the ship history. However, this freedom also brings some challenges because visitors move around freely. There's a high risk of damage to fragile areas or all materials. Healthy and safety are also a concern. People might slip, trip, or accidentally touch something delicate. And since there are no guide, some visitor might miss key fact of story about the ship's history. So now let's look at the Wentworth Woodhouse, which is it is the one of the largest Georgian houses in the South Yorkshire. Here, the approach is more restricted. Visitor can join guided tours, and only some areas like the gardens and ground floor are open to everyone. The upper floor are often closed because they are fragile or under restoration. This control access helps protect the building and keeps visitors safe. Guides can explain the history clearly, share story about the family who lived there, and also show rooms still being restored. It is also ensure consistent learning for all visitors and help staff monitor safety. But restricted access has downside too. Visitors can't move around freely or spend extra time in area they like. Some might find the tour less exciting or feel more like observe than participants. And now let's move to the question 4. What issue of health and safety might pertinent to an attraction such as this? The first key point is accessibility and mobility. Although the ship is advertised as wheelchair accessible, not all areas are easy to navigate. Some cabins are very narrow, and certain routes include cobblestones or uneven flooring. This can make it difficult for wheelchair users or those with the limited mobility to move safely. For school groups, the trust provide a safety and hazard identification guide. Large groups such as children require high levels of supervision because narrow decks. Larger group, especially children, require high level of supervision because narrow decks, stairs, and historic surface increase the likelihood of slips, trips, or collisions. Proper planning, staff precision, and alternative routes are essential to ensure safety for all visitors. The next key point is structural and environmental. Next, structural and environmental control risk. The ship hull is preserved in a dry dock with a glass plate and dehumidifiers to prevent corrosion. While this is excellent for conservation, it also introduces new risks. Mechanical failure of the dehumidifiers or glass panel could create safety hazard, and condensation from the system may make surface slippery. Staff must regularly monitor this system and ensure that any maintenance work does not endanger visitor. Besides that, sensor and experiential risk. The SS Great Britain provide an immersion visitor experience with smell, sounds, mannequin, and interactive space. While this feature enhance engagement, they can also create hazards. For example, low lighting combined with realistic sensory effect may distract visitor, increasing the risk of tripping or bumping into objects. The trust must carefully balance immersions with safety, providing guidance and clear pathway to minimize accident. Last but not least, surface and venue specific hazard. Historic attraction inherently contain physical risk. Narrow passageways, uneven floorings, step. Last but not least, surface and venue specific hazard. Historic attraction inherently contain physical risk. Narrow passageways, uneven flooring, steep stairs, water feature, and exposed moving parts are common. The trust conduct detailed hazard identification and risk assessment to proactively address this issue using signage, supervision, and safety protocols to protect visitors while allowing them to experience the ship authentically. In conclusion, healthy and safety at the SS Great Britain is a careful balance. The trust must maintain a historic ship or immersive and interactive experiences and manage large visitor number all while minimizing risk from structural, environmental, sensory, and operational hazard.